Hi, my name is Selena Maison-Pierre, and this is a yoga sequence to help increase flexibility. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between flexibility and mobility, because yoga is an amazing practice that sort of plays with both. In flexibility, we're thinking about stretching muscles and tissues in order to free up the joint space. And when we talk about mobility, we're talking about how much the joint can move, like how free within the joint the bones can move around them. So both of which, flexibility and mobility, play a really important role in your longevity as a moving human being on this earth. And yoga is an incredible practice for both of those. So this is going to be yoga for flexibility. And I'll speak a little bit about mobility as well. If you know that you are very tight, I recommend, if you have, you don't need, but I recommend yoga blocks, and I'll show you how to use them in a moment. So if you have them at home, or even like big books, or honestly like soup cans or tissue boxes, grab those and just place them on the side of the mat. And I'll show you how you can use these props to help support your flexibility. So we're going to get started in a tabletop position, and we're going to get started in just your very typical cat-cow. But what that means first is stacking the shoulders over the wrists, the hips over the knees, and just really aligning your bones, aligning the bones and joint space. From here, drop the belly and lift the heart, look forward. This is our cow pose. And from here, you're going to push the floor away deeply round the spine. So you'll take that a couple of times, and what we're doing here is just trying to increase the flexibility and mobility of your spinal column. So much of our body sort of stems from a healthy spine. So I just want us to start by opening up in there. You can take this as fast or slow as you like. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. So nice. And then from there, we're going to come into a downward facing dog. So if you are brand new to down dog, you'll tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, and then pedal out the legs a lot here. This is a big sort of full body stretch. A tip I have for you if you feel like you're slipping on the mat is to take your hands, grab for the outer edge of the mat, push into the mat as the hips lift up. That's going to just help you feel a little bit more stable and secure if you're new to the practice. So working on flexibility in the legs. Let's take your right foot. You're going to step it about 6 or so inches up the mat, and then we're going to push the right heel down into the mat as we reach the right sitting bone up and back. So we're really actively pushing the heel down and actively lifting the right sitting bone up. You can wag your tail a little side to side. Whew. You gotta let me know if you feel that at home. And then we'll switch sides. You'll step your right foot back. You can always tap down onto the knees if you need a break, especially if you're new to down dog. It can be a lot in the arms. But here we go, right back into it. Now we take our left foot. We'll step our left foot up the mat about 4 to 6 inches. And then from there, you're pushing the heel down as you lift your sitting bone up. You'll feel a big stretch through the calf muscle and all the way up through the hamstring. And then go ahead and rock your hips a little side to side, sort of like a dog wagging its tail. You might notice differences between two sides. So normal. Go ahead and step the left foot back and tap the knees down to the mat. So nice. So that gets into the whole kind of back line of your legs. So that's one stretch for the back of the legs. The next one is we're going to do a low lunge, and this is a great opportunity to grab blocks if you know that you're a little bit tight. So I'm going to demonstrate with blocks. You can come to a low lunge from a down dog, or you can just step your right foot forward. Okay, and just quickly, I want you to see knee and ankle are aligned. That's important. We want a 90-degree angle in the front knee. And with blocks, I can bring my hands a little bit closer up so I can really get this upward position. You're going to feel it in your hip flexor. That's where we're stretching. And then we're going to add a little bit more dynamic movement to it. So we'll send the hips back and flex the right toes. It's like a half runner's lunge. And then I want you to move through that a couple of times. Inhaling, coming into this low lunge. Exhaling, hips go back. Maybe you drop the head. Inhaling, coming forward. Maybe you reach the arms up. Exhaling, lowering the hands down. Send the hips back towards the back heel. We'll do that just one more time. Inhale, arms up, reach. Exhale, lower the hands, send the hips back. So we're going to stay here for a couple of breaths. Maybe you take the blocks back with you if you need. Maybe you reach them forward if that feels good. We're gonna drop the head, tug the right hip back, breathe in, lengthen the torso a little bit longer. Exhale, soften and fold. One more breath. And exhale. Last little thing here, look forward. You're pulling the right toes towards your nose. And now like a windshield wiper, I want you to take the right toes towards the right and then to the left. So when we talk about mobility, now we're thinking of that right hip bone right thigh bone moving side to side in the socket of the hip. So you're just windshield wipering it a little side to side. Beautiful, go ahead and come forward and you'll step the right knee back and we'll switch sides. So now it'll be the left foot. Step your left foot forward. Check in with this knee, make sure it's a 90-degree angle. Scooch the right foot back so you're nice and long through this. And we're inhaling here and exhaling, sending the hips back, flexing those left toes. Inhale, come forward, maybe you reach the arms up. Exhale, lower the hands, send the hips back, fold. One more like that. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, the hands lower. You send your hips back, and this is where we'll stay. So we're flexing those left toes. We're pulling the left hip back. Look forward, lengthen the torso, and then exhale, soften the elbows, drop the head. Maybe the nose comes to the knee. You stay here for 3. Breathing, letting go for 2. And 1, coming out of it just a little bit, still looking forward at those left toes. And now the left toes will externally rotate to the left. You feel that movement with the thigh bone and the socket of the hip, and then internally rotate to the right. And you'll do that a couple of times. Maybe noticing that one side feels a little different. My left hip's a little stickier than my right. But we're just increasing now the mobility of that left hip joint. Good. Maybe you point and flex. I like that too. And then you'll come forward. Hands can be on the blocks. And we'll just step that shin back. And we're here. Go ahead and come forward, and we're going to sit on our bums and bring the soles of the feet together. Knees go wide. This is a really nice opening up through the hip flexors. If you feel like you're really dumping in the low back, you can sit on a blanket, a block, anything to sort of put yourself up, so that you're really kind of like coming forward into the pelvis. From here, let's extend the right leg and extend the left leg. And right away, if you're pretty tight, you are gonna feel that sense of rounding back. And I really want to encourage you to put some props underneath your seat so that you're sitting up really tall. Flex the feet, reach out through the heels, and here we are. Let's take your arms forward in front of you. Keep reaching out through the heels, and you're gonna fold forward any amount. So you're walking the fingers forward. So much of flexibility is also just an awareness of the breath, especially the exhale. So when you breathe in, you're adding fresh oxygen to the muscles. And when you exhale, you're letting go of whatever tension you might be holding onto, whatever might be stored in the muscles. So I want you to come down to that place where you feel like you're right on the edge. Ooh, like right in that place where you're not quite sure if you can hold it, but you can hold it. We're gonna be here for 3, really focusing on that exhale, breathing in. Exhale, 2. Again, just think, what can let go? What can let go? And 1. Walk yourself back up, and then we'll take it over to the left. So you're sitting up tall. I always think of like a marionette or like a puppet. You're spinning over to the left side. Maybe the arms reach up so you get really, really long and tall. And then from that length, you'll fold over to the left. And again, we're walking the fingers forward, but we're not forcing it. There's no self-judgment here. We're just starting to allow ourselves to open. The right hip might be lifting a little bit. Try and heavy that right hip as you reach forward beyond the left toes. Any amount, doesn't matter where. If you want to try a new experience, right hand will come for the outer edge of the left foot, and you can pull that right elbow a little bit right. Let's stay here for 3 more breaths. Relax the neck, maybe close the eyes, exhaling completely. 2, and 1. No drama as you come out of it. We're nice and slow. It's like nothing just happened. Super easy. You rise back up. Arms reach up. We spin over to the right. Keep reaching out through the heels, lift up, oop, that's my tighter side, and then fold forward. And if you have scoliosis like me, you're gonna have a tighter side, and you just honor that, reaching forward, crawling your fingers forward. That left hip will lift a little bit. Just keep it sort of grounded down in your imagination, soften the elbows. If you want to try that new experience, your left hand will grab for the outer edge of the right foot. You just gently pull the left elbow a little bit. That's going to accentuate a little bit more of a twist. Let's drop the head if you haven't already, and we're here for 3 breaths. Nice, easy exhale. 2, maybe taking it 1 step deeper. That's your last breath. And then again, no drama, looking forward. Just rising yourself back up, like no big deal. Back through center. You can pull the soles of the feet together, knees wide, release and relax. I think it sometimes feels nice to go and kind of extend the legs and just rock yourself a little bit forward and back here. The same idea of mobility in the hips and the knee joints, flexibility in the hamstrings and your hip flexors. Gorgeous. And then we'll come forward into a seat. You can go ahead and face me. Let's take the arms wide into a big T. Take your right elbow underneath the left. So we're eagle wrapping the arms. If this feels like enough, you just take a little hug of yourself. If you're adding on with me, we're wrapping the arms all the way. So you can see it's really like a deep wrap in. Lift the elbows parallel to the floor. You probably already feel the stretch through the back of the shoulder blades. Lift the elbows up. Good, stay here for 3. You can see my chin is lifting up a little bit. My neck is nice and loose. Breathe for 2. And 1. Exhale, let it go. Open and release. We have the other side. So you start with your arms wide into a T. Now it's the left elbow underneath the right. So you really want to crease at the elbows. You can grab for a hug here, or you wrap the arms all the way around. And then when you've got that, we lift the elbows parallel to the floor. That puts you right in that right shoulder. Let's tip the elbows up just a little bit. Chin lifts up, heart lifts up. And we're breathing for 2. Exhale. Last 1. And the elbows lower. You release and let it go. Take the arms out in front of you, pull the right fingertips back, just stretch and open through the right wrist crease, little shake out, left wrist crease, little shake out. So wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Flexibility is one of those things that you do over time, and you slowly start to sort of build up and increase to it. So if you feel super tight now, don't get discouraged. That's why we call yoga a practice. You show up every day and you get to witness as your body changes through that commitment to yourself. Thanks so much for being here. See you next time.